still, it's fun to think about how it felt last year when there were 50 people at the table. People have always thought the Gaithers were a wonderful family, but was it all a lie? They are no longer married, so Bill Gaither finally spoke out. What he said changed everything. The truth was kept secret for years, but now it's out. What did really happen when the doors were locked? Pay attention to find out. People have said for a long time that the Gaither family is having issues. Gaither was thought to be the best for church, family, and religious music. Bill and his wife had built a business together, and what looked like a strong marriage. Fans loved their friendship and thought it stood for something true and unbreakable. Things have changed since then, though. Things weren't going as well as they seemed. There were small but clear signs of this. At first, it was quiet. The number of times they got together dropped, and when they did, the way they talked to each other changed. The band wasn't as friendly on stage as fans were used to seeing them. As many laughs, touches, and deep looks were shared, it was becoming less common for people to make small private changes. Instead, there was a big space between them, and the air felt tense. The first real sign of trouble was when Bill showed up to an event by himself. He talked about his wife a lot and always said nice things about her. He called her his biggest support, but Bill didn't give a clear answer when someone asked him why she wasn't at this event. He said something about timing problems. Longtime fans knew that wasn't enough. Bill never turned down someone so quickly when they asked about his wife. I began to doubt things after that. Following that, more cases began to come in. People saw them use different cars to get to and from shows. Even when they were on stage together, they didn't stand close to each other. The way they talked made it sound more like a show than a real marriage. People asked what was going on social media. Some people thought they were just having a bad time because every couple has problems every once in a while. Not everyone was sure. Bill was said to look worried, maybe even distracted, and deep in thought during shows. Some people said that he stopped answering some personal questions and conversations and instead changed the subject or kept his answers short. Withdrawals showed that something was really wrong at that point. Events that were supposed to happen over a period of months were suddenly pushed back, and sometimes no good reason was given. Bill, who had always cared about his friends, quit going to as many public events. Even though nothing was said out loud, it was easy to see the trend. Something bad was going on behind the scenes that would affect both their work and home lives. More and more people talked, and the stories got stranger. Some said the fight was over money and business decisions that had an impact on their company. People in the same group as them said in comments that they had a big fight with close friends or family that made their marriage hard. Some even said that their faith was being tested because they didn't agree or had questions about the direction of their work, which was making them grow apart. The news stories that no one wanted to believe shocked people the most. Thoughts of stealing have been going around since then, and each week they get stronger. People said that the tension between them wasn't just about work or personal issues, because they said there was no longer trust. Fans thought it might be true, but no one had proof. Some people said that Bill's wife had been acting differently. They said she avoided eye contact in public and looked awkward whenever they talked about their marriage. Some people thought Bill had changed and was less open with the people around him. More people talked about the stories, which made them more interesting. The fact that Bill and his wife didn't say anything about the reports didn't help. They didn't say anything, so things got worse. Some fans still thought that everything was fine and that the rumors were just based on a lot of talk and thought about too much. Not everyone was sure, though. They believed that something was going on behind closed doors and that everyone would soon find out about it. Suddenly, everything came to a head. There would be a big event soon that would make everything different. Everyone would be shocked when it came out. We asked God to help us be great citizens and said we want to get an A in citizenship. Do you remember that number you got in middle school? An A in citizenship? We'll wear the mask if we have to, and we'll get through this. I believe we are... So, well, you look good and healthy, and I'm glad you're following all the rules. We want a guys around for a long, long time. She's a great cook, and we gained a few pounds while we cooked together. We've been staying home, which is good because Angie, who works with us in the house, takes us to the store and the pharmacy, so we've only seen our family. Yes, she said, that night changed everything. Bill Gaither thought it was just another night. He had been out late at a secret meeting with close friends and coworkers. He had been very busy the last few weeks, but he still made the effort to show up, smiling like everything was fine in his life. But he had been feeling off for months. He couldn't quite push it away. He told himself that his worry was making him think too much about things, but he knew better. He was thinking about how different things feel between him and his wife these days. They were really far apart, not just in his mind. He knew something was wrong because she avoided his eyes, they talked less, and there was a quiet stress where there used to be laughter. He told himself that every marriage goes through rough times and that this was just a phase, but he couldn't get rid of his worries tonight. Pulled into the driveway late at night. The living room was the only room with light, and Bill made a face. His wife usually went to bed early when he had late meetings, but she wasn't awake tonight. As he got out of the car and walked to the front door, he heard soft, close-knit laughter coming from the other room. He hadn't heard that laugh in a long time, and it made his stomach turn. He did nothing but listen in the hallway, his heart beating so hard against his ribs. He took a slow step forward with his fists clenched, and then he saw it. His wife was wrapped in the arms of another woman. He tried to clear his mind by blinking, thinking that the dim light was just messing with his eyes. But what he saw was real. When his wife saw him standing there, she stepped back and her face turned pale. The other woman quickly stepped away and her face showed that she felt guilty. Bill was having trouble breathing. His heart was beating fast in his ears. He wanted to say something, but he couldn't. He thought about the signs he had ignored for so long while his mind ran through memories. He felt like his body was frozen. Hey, I want to tell you how proud I am that you guys decided to work on this project. It's pretty cool to do a whole job with someone else's writing. You should know that it's a beautiful project. It's interesting what you said about having prayer meetings in houses. We, during this time, when a lot of us have been home more than we have chosen maybe, and a lot of people with little kids have had to homeschool, home entertain, home play games, home exercise, all as a part of home life. But you know, I think that if we are open to it, it makes our lives richer.
What is this?
Bill felt a sharp pain in his chest that wasn't real. It was a pain of betrayal, shame, and anger. He had a lot of thoughts, but the most important one was a question his wife didn't answer right away. She opened her mouth, but she didn't say anything. It looked like someone caught her in a moment she didn't think would be shown. The other woman looked between them, clearly nervous and wanting to leave. How long? This time his voice was stronger, but he barely knew it was his. His wife jumped. Bill, how long? His voice broke. He felt the weight of the situation on him. The fact that she wasn't sure was enough for him. He knew the answer. It wasn't a mistake or a short moment of weakness. This was real, and it had been going on behind his back while he couldn't see it. He was angry, and he rarely let go of things, but he was about to do so right now. He looked away and ran his hand through his hair to calm down. He was so angry that he couldn't catch his breath. They couldn't stand how quiet it was. Finally, his wife slowly moved forward and said, "Bill, please, let's talk." Talk? Do you want to talk now? His voice seemed to hurt her a lot, but he didn't seem to care. He ignored the signs for too long and pretended everything was fine. He was trying to hold on to something that was already slipping away from him. She said softly, "I didn't want you to find out like this." She looked sad in her eyes. He laughed, fake laughed, and shook his head. He said, "Oh, I bet you didn't." The snark in his voice covered the pain inside him. He was sick and felt like the ground had broken under him, leaving him on the edge of something scary and unknown. He took a deep breath and ran his hand over his face. He didn't know what to do next because his whole world had just fallen apart. All he knew was that whatever it had been was over. The cool night air hit him like a wave as he walked out the door. He had to get away to clear his mind and figure out what to do next. As he got into his car and drove off into the night, he couldn't help but think of one thing. Things would never be the same again. I love that you sang our songs or any religious songs for the first time at home. That's why you want to sing them all over the country. You just can't help it. That's the word. I like to think of songs as taking religion with you. It's with us in the shower and at the shop. We all have songs in our heads. I talk and write other things too, but when you're down for the third time, the words to an old hymn or church song always lift you up. When Bill and I write songs, we pay a lot of attention to how true the lyrics are. If that's what will help you when you need it most, then it has to be true. This medley, Ernie, is the first one. That's it, yes. Does the first one look a lot like Lingard? That's it, folks. Okay, we can't record all of these songs, so let's go through and get a medley and sing a little bit of some of your better ones. We said you did record He Touched Me and Because He Lives as full songs, and I'm about to name something else. How can we get some of these other songs? When fans heard the shocking news that Bill Gaither had been found, they were shocked, angry, and on the fence. In the church society, everything went crazy. A story that seemed too crazy to be true was whispered at first. Bill Gaither had spent many years building a story of faith, music, and family. When he walked in, he saw his wife with someone else. No one saw this coming, and it spread like flames on social media as soon as it happened. At first, a lot of fans didn't believe it and called it fake news. It was even said that news sites made up the whole thing to make Bill look bad. They had always thought that Bill and his wife were the perfect couple and a good example of a godly marriage. They couldn't even think that their own home could be the scene of such a horrible lie. Many kind words and old photos of the couple together were shared on social media by people who love the Gaither. A lot of people also talked about how the Gaither had changed their lives and hoped that the truth would soon be known. They hoped that something was wrong and that Bill would finally admit it and make things right. But as more details came out, that hope started to go away. Family members confirmed that what happened really did happen and that Bill was very upset when he left his house. After seeing what he had seen, he was seen driving around aimlessly that night so he could think about it. Press said that Bill's close friend, who did not want to be named, had never seen him so sad. A lot of people began to understand what was going on at that point. It was real, not just a story. The answers came right away and were very strong. Some fans were so mad that they yelled at Bill's wife. People around her said she was dishonest and had betrayed her husband and the faith they had taught for years. In a sad Facebook post, a fan asked, how could she do this to him? After everything they've been through, after everything he's done for their family, this is how she repays. Some even said she had been lying to her fans the whole time. If she was willing to lie to Bill for who knows how long, how do we know she hasn't been lying to all of us too, a pal asked. The anger toward her grew quickly. Some Christian groups that used to help her stopped doing so. The events she had planned to attend were quietly called off. People started to watch old acts and talks to get a sense of what was going on behind closed doors. Fans tried to make sense of the shocking breach by seeing everything from the past in a new way. But not all people agreed with. Another group of fans said there was too much anger. Private things should stay private, and no one really knew what went on in a marriage. Some people wrote, we don't know her side of the story, which meant they didn't want people to make assumptions. Some people thought the Christian community's reaction was too harsh. They said the right thing to do was not to criticize or judge. Didn't Jesus preach love and forgiveness? Someone asked on Twitter, other people thought about Bill and what this means for his job. Maybe we should stop throwing stones and start praying instead. Would he run away from all the attention? After lying like that, would he still be able to lead prayer with the same love and heart? He would never be the same again. Many people were afraid that this story would change him for good. Some people thought that he would use his pain and sadness to make some of his most powerful music ever, giving his songs even more meaning. On the web, many people shared their ideas about what Bill would do next. Would he try to split up with her? Would he say something in public about it? Or would he choose to hide his pain from everyone by being quiet? Fans thought a lot of different things. Some people thought he should handle the problem alone, while others hoped he would speak out soon. The news industry, on the other hand, made the best of things. There were headlines on gossip sites, big news sites, and everything else. Some reporters tried to get more attention by writing dramatic headlines like "Betrayal in the Gospel World," "Bill Gaither's Heartbreak," and "The Scandal That Rocked Christian Music." On talk shows, experts talked about how scandals like this affected religious celebrities and whether Bill's reputation would ever fully recover. It was clear that this wasn't just a problem for one person. It had become a public show, and everything was being said. One thing kept coming up, even with all the chaos: support for Bill. On social media, thousands of his friends wrote him good things. Some people sent Bible lines. Some people talked about how they dealt with lies and sadness. Many people just told him they were praying for him, and that what other people did wouldn't change how he was seen. Churches all over the country even held prayer vigils for him. The phrase, "We stand with Bill," was used a lot by people who backed him. For days, his name was all over social media, and sad things were said about him by people from all walks of life. A lot of well-known people in the Christian music and church businesses spoke out in support. A few kind people texted him online, and others called to comfort him. Bill, on the other hand, didn't say a word. He still hadn't said anything in public after days and weeks. Fans asked him if he was okay, if he was taking some time to think about everything behind closed doors, or if he had given up on everything. More stories spread because people couldn't talk to each other. Some people thought he was going to make a big return and take a tough stance on the problem. Some people thought that was the end of his time in the public eye, but it was clear that everything had changed at that time. Bill's name would always be linked to this sad scandal, even if he never went back on stage or shared his story. While everyone was waiting for Bill Gaither to do something next, they all had one thought: what would he do?